This is Ben Ingram from the Atlanta Braves Radio Network, and it's time to go riding with the Braves, presented by Chevrolet. Let's see who else is joining us today. Riding with the Braves alongside AJ Smith-Shawver today. Get into trouble into this thing. Thanks so much for doing this, man. This is great to visit with you.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.
It's fun because with doing these ride-alongs are at the beginning of a new season, and for you, I can't even imagine what life has been like for about the last year because you're 21 years old. You shoot to the big leagues last year. You make your debut. You're in spring training this year, competing for a spot in the rotation. This is all coming at you pretty quick, isn't it?
Yeah, no doubt. For sure, it's been like a kind of a whirlwind, but I also thought that was probably a good thing last year, just kind of never knowing where I am, kind of just going through it, just throwing the baseball, not really overthinking anything. So that was nice, but I mean, just been really blessed to have all the opportunities and have my family watching me do it all. It's been a good time for everybody. So
Yeah, there's no doubt. Well, go back to last year. You get the call up. You came and joined the team when we were in Oakland last year, and you got there like middle of the game, didn't you?
yep.
What was that like walking down to the bullpen and seeing everybody and getting to shake some hands and get to meet some people?
Yeah, it was awesome. I worked out with AJ Minter in the off season, so I had some familiar faces. I worked out with Bryce, so it was a few familiar faces, which was nice. And then I got to meet all the guys once I got down there. But it was actually funny. I flew to Norfolk from Atlanta that day, so that's in Virginia. So we went all the way to Virginia, and then I flew all the way from Virginia to Oakland, all on the same day. So
It's a long day.
yeah, it was a good day. One of my favorite days in the books. But it was a pretty crazy day.
What was it like getting that phone call when they told you you're heading to the big leagues?
I don't know. I felt like it was a little bit hard to believe, but I was just pumped. I was just ready to go, call my parents, and be like, "Hey, we're got to book some tickets. Y'all are going to Oakland."
Yeah. It's so cool. It's so exciting to watch, and it's so exciting to watch you and your progression. Let's go back to high school because I've read stories about you, and you're obviously a quarterback and also played some baseball. And was that a difficult decision when it came down to you getting to go play college football versus going to play professional baseball? What was that decision like for you?
It was definitely a decision that I thought for a while about it, and just kind of talked to my family, friends, people who've done football, baseball before, making sure that I had a good plan and was going to stick to what I said I was going to do. So I just knew the development that the Braves had. It was just unreal. So I was just trying to go trust it. I felt like the development would have been better. So I wanted to go see what I could do.
And you were kind of new to pitching, weren't you? I mean, you didn't start pitching till what, later in high school?
Yeah, I started pitching, I think like 15 innings junior summer ball year, just kind of messing around. I was pumping it up like Kent Murphy and throwing fastball knuckleball for that first 15 innings.
You're throwing knuckleballs your first time on the mound.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, just pumping it up, hands behind the head, everything, the
Yeah.
whole deal. So it was just fun. I was just hanging out with my boys and just kind of just messing around playing summer ball, and then it kind of became serious after my first outing. I was about 93, 95. So it was like, okay, this is real now.
Yeah.
And so it got more serious. I threw my senior year, so I probably had around 75 innings coming into it.
So really, you didn't start pitching till you're what, 17 years old?
Yeah, I mean, I had pitched when I was younger a little bit, but for the like first time really pitching, I was about 17.
Yeah.
Yeah, 17, 18.
Golly, which is funny to me because when you think about guys pitching and they've been doing it for 10, 12, 15 years by the time they get to minor league ball, major league ball, and you've really been doing this for about really 4 or 5 years tops.
Hmm.
So that's a lot of progression in a short amount of time.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, like I said earlier, the Braves have been just unreal with how fast they developed me and just the tools that they give you. They give you so many tools, so it's just a matter of buying in and listening and just trying to be the best every day, I guess. Just trying to get a little bit better.
And you weren't the only big leaguer on your high school team, were you?
I was not
Who else was on that team?
Bollywood Jr.
And he was at shortstop?
So he was a senior my sophomore year. So
Okay.
that year I only DH'd. I DH'd for the playoffs. Like late in playoffs, I started hitting the DH spot, and I think I batted like 500 through the end of playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Had a little streaky stint, but Yeah, the Bobby Wood Jr. He's pretty good.
Yeah, he is
He's
pretty
pretty
good.
good.
You guys had a squad then. What was your best moment on a high school football field?
High school football field. Or actually, I'll go rivalry game. My senior year, I think I threw for 5 touchdowns and a little over 400 or 500 yards.
Oh man, in one game.
Yeah,
Man, you had a game.
yeah, it was a
That's
good one.
yeah,
But it felt nice just being a rivalry game and kind of stepping out. That was a good one.
no doubt,
Fun
man.
time.
Was there a quarterback that you liked to watch a lot? Was there a guy that you kind of patterned your game after on the football side of the field?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Patrick Mahomes coming up was really good, so I watched
Hmm.
him a lot. Matthew Stafford, I liked his style of play a lot. I used to watch him a lot. We'd watch like Baker Mayfield college at OU because we ran a similar offense.
Hmm. And then what about baseball? Who are some of the guys you enjoyed watching coming up, and maybe not necessarily pattern your game after, but just players that you enjoyed watching and teams you enjoyed watching?
Yeah, I was a big fan of like the older Rangers teams when I would go to the ballpark. So like Josh Hamilton was a big guy hitting all like home run
Yeah,
derby, all that. Going through that. Ian Kinsler, Derek Holland, Neftali Feliz. I liked watching that team a ton. And Nelson Cruz. I'm
that was
going.
Wash's team.
Yeah, watch his team.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's how baseball go. I remember the first time like I got drafted to Braves. That's what I thought about. I was like, oh,
that's cool.
Washington's over here.
Yeah,
That's awesome. Just from watching them and listening to them growing up, it's I don't know. I met a lot just being from Texas,
yeah,
watching them do
that
that.
was a great squad that they had, and yeah, it's. But I'm sure. So growing up, you're a big Rangers fan.
Yeah, big Rangers
Did you
fan.
get to go to many games?
Yeah, I went to quite a few games growing up. Not like a ton, but we'd go every so often, and it was always a good time.
So were you Rangers and Cowboys?
You know it. You know it.
I'm sure that gets some trash talk going in the clubhouse talking about football and
Oh
stuff.
man, this year hurt a little bit more
Yeah,
than the years before. I felt like we had a good chance at it, but
I
hey,
thought you did. I never saw the Packers coming in doing what they did.
no, Jordan Love looked good that game.
Yeah, he
But
did.
we'll see what we got next year. We got a lot. We got all the weapons, so we're always going to be in the hunt, hopefully. So
Yeah. All right. Speaking of weapons, you've been working on one throughout the offseason and into spring training, and we know you throw hard, big arm, fastball in the upper 90s. But this changeup has come along, and it's something we've really had an eye on this spring. And I'm calling the game with Darren O'Day the other day, and down in Fort Myers, you're facing the Twins, and you're getting swings and misses versus righties on the changeup. So that changeup's come a long way for you, hasn't it?
yeah, no doubt, it was a big focus for me this offseason. Just kind of getting good feel for it, feeling comfortable throwing against righties. Be able to throw for a strike, and then also be able to put guys away with it. So that was a main focus for me, and I feel like I came a long way. Still working on it for consistency, but it's been a big weapon for me. Be able to get in on right-handers' hands, go away from lefties. So I have a pitch going that way now. So I feel like that's gonna be a big weapon for me this year.
And that was your focus of the offseason, was really sharpening that pitch?
Yeah, it was just cleaning up my mechanics, just becoming more consistent with my mechanics, and then just kind of pitch shapes and just making the pitch shapes as consistent as possible. But I knew the changeup was going to be a big piece for me this next year, just adding that to the arsenal and feeling comfortable with it. So
Was that just a matter of throwing it, or did you work with somebody who throws one? How did that progress in the offseason?
a little bit of everything, just asking guys questions about what they think when they're throwing their changeups, what's their sights, just kind of what throughout their delivery, what are they thinking, their front side, just it's a little bit of everything, just taking little bits and pieces from everybody. I mean, we have a
Hmm.
clubhouse full of knowledge here too, so it's not too hard to go looking and find it.
That's
So
got to be the best thing too, because and I feel like this has changed over the years. You could go into a clubhouse at your age 20, 30 years ago, and I don't know that it was really encouraged for young guys to ask too many questions. Now I think it's certainly encouraged because teams are relying on younger players so much more than maybe they used to. And you go in there basically as a sponge. I mean, you're soaking up all sorts of information and wisdom from these guys.
yeah, no doubt. I think we have one of the best clubhouse. I think we have the best clubhouse in baseball, just in terms of coming into it. It's the same clubhouse every single day. Everybody knows, even if they're not doing well throughout there, they know that someone's going to pick them up, and I think that's great. And I think that we have so much leadership and veteran guys that are willing to talk to you and willing just to give all the information that they have. So I think that and just everybody wanting to make everybody better has just been huge.
Who's been impactful on you since day one? Veterans, with one or two guys that you've found yourself really learning a lot from, not just on the field, but maybe off the field as well, how to go about life in the big leagues.
Yeah, I mean, I've I've talked to a ton of guys. I say obviously Charlie Morton's one of those guys when you get to talk to him, you just shut up and listen.
Yeah.
That's how I take it. So Charlie, Minter, uh, Elder, Strider, I mean, a ton of those guys. They're all freed. I mean, they're all there, and they're just always willing to talk and always willing to help out, which is nice. And I mean, going through the big leagues, you just kind of get thrown in there.
Hmm.
You got a lot of questions and not a lot of answers. So it was just really nice to have those guys and have them help me out through the whole thing.
There's no shortage. That's the great thing. And that, there are lots of things that come together for this team to have the expectations that they have. And you guys have high expectations, rightfully so. And a lot of that's because of the talent, of course. But I think what you're talking about, the chemistry, the clubhouse, those intangibles, that might be the most important element of it all, isn't it?
I think so. I mean, if you can go into the clubhouse and you don't have to worry about stepping on anybody's toes, you don't have to worry about anybody freaking out because they're not playing well. I feel like you don't know when people are doing bad in our clubhouse, and
Mm.
then next thing you know, they're going out and they're hitting 2 home runs the next game and making a few plays in the field. Like it's really cool to watch and just be a part of.
Looking back on last year, and you learned a lot, but was there a greater learning moment than getting to pitch in the postseason for the first time? I mean, thinking about where your year started to where you ended up, getting an opportunity to pitch in October, what a thrill that must have been like.
Yeah, no doubt. I looking back, I think that's one of the cooler things I've done, and
Yeah,
it's definitely one of the and very it's just very impactful, and I feel like it really slows the game down for me now, just like being in those moments and getting a taste of that early. I feel like is very important because the next time that we're there, I feel like I'll be way more prepared and kind of know
right.
what to expect instead of just kind of getting thrown out in the fire again. So yeah, it was really cool. That's obviously a pretty hostile environment, and I mean I loved it. It was a good time. So
That might be the most hostile environment that you could possibly ever pitch in, was what you guys went through in Philadelphia last year. So to do that at 20 years old, I mean, that not to say that the regular season is easy, but that probably takes the edge off, I'm sure.
no, I think it definitely slows the game down for you a little bit whenever you're playing those big moments, and then you go into a regular season game. I feel like you've been there, you're there, and you're ready, and you're prepared for the moment, whether you have your stuff that day or not. That's one thing, but just that confidence to go in there and be like, all right, I'm gonna get 3 outs here.
Yeah.
I think that's just the main thing.
All right. Your right arm full of tattoos.
Full of them.
What was the first one?
I got this front of my cross with the flowers behind it, the roses behind it. I
Uh-huh.
got that when I turned just a little bit after I turned 18.
When you started it, did you know you wanted to fill up the whole arm, or did it just kind of happen?
Yeah, I knew that I wanted to do at least a half sleeve or something, and I got the first one, and I liked it a lot, and I was just like, I think I'll get another one, and I just kind of kept doing that. So I got my full arm and my chest done now. So I took it easy this off season, didn't get any more tattoos, but my parents are all cool with them, so I'm all cool with them. I got a few of them on here, their birthdays and their favorite numbers and just stuff like that, which
Yeah,
is
that's
cool.
really cool. We have
So
like is that the skyline of Dallas on there?
that's the
Fort
skyline of
Worth,
Fort
okay.
Worth. Yeah,
That's
that's
cool.
where I was born.
So are you done with tattoos? You feel like it's a finished product?
No, I wouldn't say so. I think I'll get a few more.
Okay.
I'll probably get a lot more actually thinking about it. But
What's your favorite one? Do you have a favorite?
um
One that's the most meaningful to you?
I got the Sacred Heart like right here on my chest with Smith-Shawver across it.
Uh-huh.
That's important to me really. It's just like a new beginnings. It means new beginnings, and then also like Smith-Shawver is important to me because that's taking my stepdad's last name. He raised me, so that was a really cool thing I did when I was 18.
Okay.
So I took his last name, so wearing that like proudly is kind
So
of how
were
I
you
think of
just
it.
originally AJ Smith?
I was Alexander Smith, but everybody called me AJ. So whenever
Okay.
I got my name changed when I was 18, I just changed my first name to AJ.
So you're Alexander Smith until you're 18, really, officially.
Yeah,
And then AJ
I
Smith-Shawver.
yeah, I added Shawver on just as like a thanks for my stepdad who raised me and has been there the whole way. I mean, take me to countless practices. He's done really everything for me. So
That is really cool.
it was just kind of like a thank you for him.
I bet he loved that. And you getting to now be in the big leagues and him getting to watch that must be very special for the two of you.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, it's super cool just to be able to give that, and then everybody gets to see it. It's the Shawver now, so
Hmm.
it's a definitely a cool thing, and he definitely earned every bit of it. So
Yeah. What's the J stand for?
I was a junior, so
Okay. Alexander Jr.
yeah,
and just became AJ.
yep.
Okay. So when it comes to pursuing a career in sports and athletics, would you give your stepfather a lot of the credit for that? Was he the one who was there with you and really training you and progressing you towards sports?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I definitely. Yeah, I feel like my parents just taking me to all the games, all the practices, lessons. I felt like I was always doing something. So
Yeah.
just like as I grew up, I kind of realized how much time that they really put in, which is it's crazy to look back on and be like, man, we were doing stuff all the time,
Yeah.
like soccer, basketball, football, baseball. I was playing everything growing up, so I definitely owe them everything for that.
Did you know pretty young that you would have, whether it's football or baseball or whatever, that you would have a life in sports one day?
I don't know if I ever thought about it in like that way, like I'll have a life in sports, but I never like my brain never let me think about anything other than football and baseball. Like
Right.
once I got older too, it was just like I knew I'd have an opportunity to play, so I never even thought about like I guess past that,
Yeah.
like making a livelihood out of it, or but so I was just kind of going through it, and I was just like, yeah, I'll play football at the next level, or I'll play baseball
Hmm.
at the next level. So I got that set up, so I was kind of just chilling, and then baseball came along, and I just kind of just everything just kind of happened. I never really thought about it making it like my livelihood.
Yeah. So you had committed to play at Texas Tech, right?
Yes, sir.
Did you grow up a Texas Tech fan?
No, I did it. I actually kind of grew up a Texas fan.
Hmm.
And then my sister went to Texas, and then I don't know why, but then I just was like, ah, maybe Texas, oh, boo, Texas, horns down.
Don't tell Bryce that.
No, I wouldn't. I still kind of root for Texas. I have a few buddies that go there now and are playing there, so
Yeah.
I'm more prone to rooting for them.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be a fun season, man, and really excited for you. Every time you take the mound, it's so much fun to watch you grow and continue to get better and better. It's such a rapid pace, and I know that Braves country appreciates that. So thanks for riding with us today. Enjoyed our time, and have a good season.
Awesome, appreciate it.
Absolutely. It's AJ Smith-Shawver.